At the recession's low point, Michigan's unemployment rate was the nation's worst. Not anymore. Today, Michigan is creating 1 of every 10 new manufacturing jobs in the nation. And that is tonight's Sunday cover. At Dowding Industries, outside Lansing, 220 people work for Jeff Metz.
If a country's going to grow, if an economy is going to pick up and go someplace, it has to come through making things.
His company makes parts for farm equipment, truck engines, and buses. And Metz has rehired someone for every job eliminated during the recession and more.
A blade hooks to each one of these spaces. That's where the blades come off.
Metz is now branching into wind power, treating these 20-ton hubs to hold windmill blades. This massive machine that he developed does a 35-hour job in one shift.
This is the first one there is where it does every side at once.
Metz is a Republican, but he's not sure he'll vote that way this year. Grants from the Obama administration got his wind project off the ground.
I want somebody that's going to support manufacturing. I want somebody that's going to support what we're doing in this country and make it great. Whoever's going to do that, that's who I'm for.
I think wind is going to be the centerpiece of the new energy economy. Solar will play an important role, particularly at the household level. Geothermal energy is going to play an important role, particularly in some parts of the world. But the big one, the centerpiece, the dominant source of energy is going to be wind. The 19th century belonged to coal, the 20th century was oil, and the 21st century is going to be wind.
The age of wind energy is underway across the planet, and wind turbines have become one of the leading sources of new electrical capacity worldwide in recent years. In the last 3 decades, prices have dropped dramatically, leading to an explosion of new wind installation. Current prices for wind power have made it more than competitive with all leading sources of energy. Yet tax breaks to support this emerging industrial giant are hung up in Congress, despite broad bipartisan support. To find out why this is, and learn more about the pioneers of 21st century power, I paid a visit to Jeff Metz, whose cutting-edge manufacturing facility is not far away. We got along. He's friendly, honest, and blunt.
I think it was kind of interesting when you first came in. I'm not a green guy, so I don't do this because I'm green. I don't necessarily think much about global warming. I had someone that came in the other day from EPA and asked my opinion of where I thought we were with air quality, and I said, I think we're really good. If you've ever been to Ningbo, China, you think we're doing great. Production tax credit is the lifeblood of this industry right now.
Well, at the end of 2010, we had about 75,000 people employed in the wind industry. This is manufacturers, construction companies, transportation companies, everyone who's involved in building this industry. The programs that are in place right now, both the production tax credit through 2012 and the 1603 program that was passed part of the Recovery Act and then extended last year, have been absolutely critical to keep the industry moving through this downturn in our economy.
We now have 13 operating wind farms, and in January of this year we produced enough clean electricity to power the entire city of Chicago. We are very pleased with our wind farms and with the development of onshore wind in the U.S. We're really hoping that the production tax credit will be extended this year so that it will enable us to continue and to invest in wind.
Some people have a problem with the government being involved in helping a company move on or an industry move on, but when you get in your automobile, if you've got a GPS, that's a government program that went through the military. They're always involved in something, helping something out and helping something get launched.
The greatest modern example may be the Internet itself, which was born in the 1960s as part of a Defense Advanced Research Program.
From the ARPANET came the Internet, from the Internet came the web, changed the world.
And gas and oil have had a production tax credit for 70, 80 years, and so that's what helped launch them and get them in place where they could get service stations and everything else up that had to happen and all the infrastructure. Well, wind has had it for a few years now, and renewables, and it ends the end of this year. And if you're a manufacturer of wind turbine parts, you're done making parts now.
The share of wind as a source of energy is now rising pretty fast in many parts of the world. There are 3 states in northern Germany that now get between 40 and 60% of their electricity from wind farms. In this country, the leading state is Iowa, which now gets 20% of its electricity from wind energy.
Behind me you see one of our 193 turbines that we're putting up out here, making it happen every day in the middle of Iowa. I enjoyed this work. For me anyway, I feel better for myself putting up wind turbines and solar fields and stuff as opposed to putting up a fossil plant.
For a dryland farmer to have $40,000, $50,000 of disposable income for the next 30 years makes their ability to put in their crops, get loans, that kind of thing. It's very positive for them. It's also good for our tax base, for the schools, other issues because of the energy tax. So it's been a positive all the way around.
3 states, North Dakota, Kansas, and Texas, have enough wind energy that, if harnessed, would more than provide enough electricity for the entire country.
Production tax credit these politicians are looking at the production tax credit like it comes up at the end of the year. But if you're a supplier, you're done today. You're all done. These orders are not being done, they're being canceled.
If the PTC doesn't get extended, it's going to be a significant fall off in the U.S. in 2013.
If I'm not prototyping right now parts for my customers for next year, building parts they want a year from now, if I'm not looking into the future that far, I'm out of business today and don't know it. All of our orders for hubs are being canceled. All of our orders for smart caps are being canceled. And it's got to be happening to everybody else because everything is stopped. The PTC needs to have a sunset clause. We need it. All we want to do is introduce these new technologies. So we need 4 or 5 years because it takes that much time to build a field, build equipment, build those kind of things. And then you can have it back. We don't want it anymore.
Can wind actually turn a profit without any subsidies?
This is an example, a really compelling example of a technology and an incentive program that's working. So if you looked at the history of wind energy, the price has come down its pricing curve substantially in the last 20 years. As an example, turbines which are available to the market today have shown a 20% improvement in the technology cost as a result of advances that are being made in the blades.
These are things you're seeing now where small companies are bringing technologies forward, but they need the help, they need the support. I couldn't have done this on my own. There was no way to do it. So now you got a whole paradigm shift in manufacturing processes that makes the United States more competitive again than anyone in the world. And if you want to bring jobs back and you want to bring middle class back, you just got to be better than anybody else out there.
So it's a really compelling case of the government incentivizing the development of an industry and the development of a technology that is actually really working. And we believe that in the coming few years, wind energy will be able to compete without any form of government support. And we just need to get to that point where, you're almost there, just continue to allow the development to occur, and you'll have a wonderful success story on our hands.
This kind of improvement, if you went to Ford and said, I'm going to improve your line by 10%, they would jump up and down. Those are huge improvements, and to be able to take this kind of time out of this process, it's unheard of.
So you've taken it down from how many hours?
This machine normally to do on a single spindle boring mill would take about 35 hours.
And you're doing it?
We did our first one in 6 hours, so we'll only get better from there. These are the best paying jobs I have, this building right here. This is, you just don't get anybody off the street to come in and load that part on there without taking out walls and things like that. It's a pretty sophisticated worker that works in this facility. These are jobs you want. These are jobs you want to have in this community. This is where you want to, everybody's griping about the middle class going away. These are middle class jobs that are very strong. This is automotive type jobs.
Well, now, people are going to still be building wind turbines somewhere in the world. What's going to happen if we don't build them here?
Why would you not build them here? We're a manufacturing, this is what we do here. When I go to Turkey, all they talk about is manufacturing. When I go to China, all they talk about is manufacturing.
In 2009, China overtook the United States in renewable energy investments for the first time ever. China put $34.6 billion into renewable energy projects, mostly wind farms.
Now, the last time I checked, Turkey was growing at 9.5%. China's what, 14, 15?
Just 5 years ago, there was really only one Chinese wind turbine manufacturer. Today, we see about 80 wind turbine manufacturers in the Chinese marketplace.
Over the last 4 years, we have been seeing doubling of installation capacity every single year.
China has started development of 7 wind generating complexes, each with at least 10,000 megawatts of generating capacity. The largest, which is in Gansu province in the northwest, will be a 38,000 megawatt generating facility. The amount of electricity produced by that wind farm when it's completed is enough to satisfy the needs of a country like Poland or Egypt.
What's interesting to me is all of the data that we use as far as what happens with wind production, blade length, blade production, outputs, how you make a turbine is all from, this is 30, 40-year-old technology. So all of your data is skewed. When you look at the DOE and you see a tower that's 80 feet and then you compare it to a tower at 100 feet, the data changes exponentially. It's not just a little change, it's a huge change. So you have a guy talking about his 1973 Chevy Camaro as to what it's got, power door locks, power brakes, and cruise control, as though that's a big deal. And in his garage, there's a 2012 Cadillac Escalade that'll talk to him in the morning. It'll tell him where to turn right or left, and if he gets an accident, call 911. That's where we are on our technology advancements. We are that 2012 Escalade in the garage that nobody knows about yet.
In actual fact, the consumer pays very little for wind energy. 2.2 cents per kilowatt hour, I think, is just extremely small amount that actually finds its way into the consumer. And what we found is that we're investing on an industry basis. We've invested $80 billion into U.S. wind, whereas the production tax credit is on an annual basis about $3.2 billion, and it attracts $16 billion of annual investment.
You just got to be passionate and unwilling to stop. And the United States has always been that way, and all of a sudden we're not that way. I don't know.
So instead of taking a week to do this process, I want to be able to do it in the same 4.5, 5 hours that I'm doing the hubs in. And the same thing with the base or the platforms or whatever, so that we begin to get this assembly line type process, which reduces cost dramatically. This is a brand new machine equipment.